Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tilly and I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Today I want to talk to you about two separate things. The first thing is why BMI absolutely sucks and I think it needs to go away forever. And the second thing is why, as a coach, I am never ever going to tell you to lose weight, and I don't really like focusing on transformation style coaching. Throughout this video, we're going to be talking about weight and different categories of how the world puts us into weight. So if that's triggering for you, I'm going to suggest that you just skip away from this video. But also, I just want to remind you of the whole point of this video, which is to ignore BMI and to ignore people telling you that you should lose weight. Now let's get into it. BMI is a metric that medical professionals use, and they use it to classify people into certain categories of health and wellness. It's calculated by taking your body weight in kilograms and then dividing it by your height squared. So based on this, my BMI would be something like 24.6, and I just used a website to calculate that. There was no math done here. So based on this, you then get put into a category, and that's largely become representative of how much fat you have on your body. But does this sound right to you? Does your overall weight and your height really mean anything? Let's start looking at why this might not be appropriate. Firstly, and very importantly, is that there are an incredible amount of social consequences that are associated with being deemed fat or having too much fat. The discrimination can begin in childhood, and it can lead to severe emotional scars. The discrimination can continue into adulthood. It can limit career choices. It can limit your access to adequate health care. And it can potentially limit your dating options and how comfortable people feel expressing themselves and their talent. If this is the case, which a ton of research suggests it is, then placing people into categories like BMI just doesn't seem very appropriate, and it can be damaging to people's self-esteem. And like I said, it can be damaging to the resultant health care that people receive. For example, I have experience in my own life with people I love walking into a medical professional's office and asking for help or for treatment about something that is completely unrelated to their weight, and yet their weight is the first thing that the medical professional sees, and then they are provided a treatment plan that is solely based around losing weight, even if they went in for a cough or a sore throat. BMI is far too reductive or reductionist in this respect, and so I really think it acts as a scapegoat for medical and fitness professionals. As always, guys, if you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely wonderful. The second reason that I think BMI is shit is that it has not been updated since the very dawn of time. Nowadays in the Western world, we are taller than we have ever been, and we are heavier than we have ever been. For example, men in 1959 were reported to be 1/2 to 1.5 inches taller and 2 to 9 pounds heavier than men 50 to 60 years prior. And that was in 1959, so imagine now. In Northern Europe in the 17th century, the average height was 5'3", but now it's approaching 6 foot. And this is a problem because it was in 1995 that the World Health Organization set forth that series of categories that we use for the BMI. And as a result of adopting these categories, based on the current climate that we live in, now 50% or more of the adult population is seen as overweight. I mean, based on these categories, I'm pretty much overweight. If you have a look at that scale, I'm like 24.6 or something. I'm very close to being considered overweight. Can you hear me rolling my eyes? I want to roll my eyes so f***ing hard that you're able to hear it. So does this seem like a metric we should be using? No, not really. The third reason that BMI needs to go is because it does not differentiate between fat mass and lean body mass, so muscle tissue. So for some people, in particular very athletic or very muscular people, they could have a very high BMI but a very low fat mass. For example, my partner Callum is about 6'2", 6'3", and he weighs about 122 kilos. He is a prop in rugby union, so they're the big players, big strong players. He's a semi-professional rugby player at the moment. He's played professionally in the past and likely will in the future. And he is not in any way, shape or form what anyone with half a brain would consider to be unhealthy. Yet according to BMI, he is. According to BMI, he has been far too significantly overweight since he was about 16 years old. That is just ridiculous. Come on. As a further example of how silly this is, in subjects with a BMI of 25, so that's pretty close to what I am, the percent of body fat in men varied between 14 and 35%. And in the women, body fat varied between 26 and 43%. Yet all of these people had the same BMI, which makes sense because it's literally just a method method of measuring your height against your weight. It provides no information in regards to your lifestyle, how muscular you are, the density of your bones, do you smoke or not smoke? Like, it gives you no health indicators. It's just absurd. Are you guys getting the picture that I'm trying to paint here? Now that we've understood that, and you can kind of see why I'm very anti-BMI, I wanted to finish up by talking about why, if you were to ever work with me as a coach, I'm never ever going to tell you to lose weight. Or if you're ever to watch any of these videos, why none of them are going to be weight related. Hopefully it'll just give you some insight into what my principles are and how I operate. Firstly, your weight is the least interesting thing about you. And to me, as a coach, it wouldn't change how I program for you at all. So it doesn't even really cross my mind as something relevant. If you were physically limited by your weight or how you could move your body, then I would take that into account when I'm programming for you or when I'm working with you. But I would also do that if you had an injury or if you had mobility issues. And I do often have to do that with a lot of my clients. So carrying more weight doesn't make you a special population to me in terms of how you train. I would also argue that the majority of people, the general population, are so far away from reaching their genetic potential and reaching their full capacity as to how much they can train. And we're so far away in terms of doing absolutely everything right in terms of your training and to maximizing your performance potential. In terms of your performance, how you show up in the gym, what's your attitude like? That is much more relevant to me. If you're not consistently going to the gym, regardless of your weight, for example, there are much bigger issues that are actually issues that we need to address. And like I said, honestly, there's so many things I can think of that we could adjust within a lifestyle before I even would get onto the conversation of weight or anything like that. Now, my next point is that how you choose to present yourself in the world is none of my business, nor is it anybody else's. I wouldn't want anybody else to get a say in how my body looks or what it does, and so I extend that courtesy to everybody. I have also seen firsthand just how exclusive fitness professionals can be. They can be cruel and they can shame people into living a lifestyle or doing things that aren't necessarily actually what's best for them. We are all victims of the diet culture or the wellness culture, and so I'm absolutely not going to contribute to that on this channel, on my Instagram page, or anywhere in my coaching practice. And the final reason, guys, that I would never ever tell any of you to lose weight is because of the hypocrisy and the privilege associated with everything about the conversation. This is a post from @nutritiont on Instagram, and I think it perfectly sums up this conversation for me. She's a nutritionist, so she's a really cool person to follow if you're interested. For example, this particular part of her post, a random person, say a fitness influencer, people don't take care of themselves. I eat healthy and exercise. I make time to cook and work out. I care about my body. And yet that same person has more disposable income, has flexible working hours, predisposed genetics, access to food options, and access to healthcare. It's not an equal playing field, and I'm sick of hearing people try and talk about it. But truly, that was a long one. That was a bit of a rant, but that is it from me, guys. I hope this shined a light on where I'm at as a coach, and I hope you guys find it interesting. Let me know what you think down below. I'd be really interested to have discussions with you, but as always, be kind down there, guys. I hope you all have an amazing week ahead. If you can, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I just want you to be a little bit kinder to yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.